Welcome to the future.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to take you on a little journey back in time, back to my dad's farm, where my best friends weren't the kids from school, but a whole menagerie of animals. Growing up on a farm isn't just a childhood, it's a whole different way of life. For a little guy like me, it was a sprawling kingdom, and I was the lucky prince who got to rule alongside some very furry and sometimes feathered subjects. My day didn't start with an alarm clock, it started with the rooster, of course. But not just any rooster. Our head rooster, a magnificent fellow I'd named General Cluckington, had a crow that could shake the dew right off the grass. Hearing him was my signal. It meant the sun was peeking over the hills, and a new day of adventures was about to begin. Before my feet even hit the cold wooden floor, I was already thinking about who I'd see first. The first stop was always the chicken coop. The hens would be clucking away a morning chorus of gossip and greetings. My job was to collect the eggs. It was like a daily treasure hunt. Reaching under a warm, fluffy hen to find a perfectly smooth, sometimes still warm egg. That was pure magic. Some of them were brown, some were white, and we even had a few hens that laid beautiful bluish-green eggs. I'd carefully place each one in my basket, whispering a thank you to the hens for their hard work. After egg duty, it was off to see the real giants of the farm, the cows. My dad had a small herd of dairy cows, and my favorite was a gentle soul named Daisy. She had these enormous, soft brown eyes that seemed to understand everything. I'd climb up on the fence of their pasture, and she'd often wander over, her warm breath fogging up the morning air. I'd spend ages just stroking her nose, telling her all my secrets. She was the best listener. She never interrupted, just chewed her cud thoughtfully, and occasionally let out a soft moo, as if to say, I get it, kid. But the farm wasn't just about chores. It was a giant playground, the hayloft in the big red barn. That was my fortress, my castle, my spaceship. The smell of dry hay and old wood is still one of my favorite scents in the world. I'd climb the towering stacks of hay bales, imagining I was scaling a mountain. From the top, I could look out the loft window and see the entire farm laid out before me. It felt like I was on top of the world. And then there were the pigs. Now, pigs get a bad rap, but let me tell you, they are incredibly smart and surprisingly clean animals. Our pigs had a huge muddy patch where they loved to roll around, especially on hot days. I used to think it was the funniest thing in the world. I had a favorite piglet for a while, a little pink guy with black spots that I called Oinkers. He was so curious and would follow me around the pen, nudging my boots with his wet snout. Playing with the piglets taught me a lot about just letting go and having fun, even if it means getting a little bit muddy. My dad was the quiet captain of this whole operation. He wasn't a man of many words, but he taught me everything through his actions. I learned about responsibility by watching him get up before sunrise every single day, no matter how tired he was, to care for the animals. I learned about patience by watching him fix a broken tractor engine piece by piece, never getting frustrated. He taught me to respect nature, to understand the cycles of life and the seasons, and to be gentle with creatures smaller than myself. He did show me how to hold a newborn lamb, or how to spot where a wild rabbit had made its nest. These weren't lessons from a book. They were lessons written in the soil and whispered on the wind. Some of my fondest memories are of us working side by side, me with my tiny shovel trying to help him muck out a stall, or sitting on the fender of the tractor as we drove out to the fields. He'd point out different birds, explain why we needed rain, or just sit in comfortable silence with me, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and purple. Those moments were simple, but they built the foundation of who I am. Of course, farm life wasn't always easy. There were harsh winters when we had to break ice on the water troughs, and sad days when we'd lose an animal. That was the hardest part. Learning about the circle of life firsthand is tough for a kid. Each loss was a heartbreak, but my dad would explain that it was all part of the farm's rhythm. It taught me about empathy, about grieving, and about cherishing the time we have with those we love, whether they have 2 legs or 4. As I got older, my world expanded beyond the farm fences. But I always carried that kingdom with me. The lessons of hard work, the connection to the animals, the quiet wisdom of my father. They shaped me in ways I'm still discovering. Living so close to nature teaches you something profound about being human. You learn that we're all part of a much bigger story, a web of life where every creature, big or small, has a role to play. Even now, when life gets complicated and noisy, I close my eyes and I can still smell the fresh-cut hay. I can hear the contented munching of the cows and the happy clucking of the hens. I can feel the rough, loving hand of my dad on my shoulder. That farm wasn't just a place where I grew up. It was a living, breathing character in my story. A friend that gave me a childhood filled with wonder, love, and a whole lot of animal friends. It taught me that the simplest things in life, warm egg in your hand, a gentle nudge from a cow's nose, a quiet sunset with your dada, often the most precious. Thanks so much for coming along on this little trip down memory lane with me. It means a lot to share these moments with you all. If you enjoyed this story, maybe give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next adventure. Let me know in the comments what your favorite childhood memory is. I'd love to read them. Until next time, take care.